So there's been a lot of talk with the Defensive Player of the Year and who should win it, and one of the guys that has been getting a lot of attention has been cornerback Stephon Gilmore. Now, personally, I just don't see how you could make that argument, to be honest, when you have a guy like Shaq Barrett who has 16 and a half sacks and 7 turnovers this season, 6 forced fumbles, and an interception. I think that obviously, they're both great, but I think the defensive end position or outside linebacker position is just so much more important. But either way, I do think that Gilmore has definitely earned his consideration for being the Defensive Player of the Year. And there's a very real chance he just might win it. So, he has been playing absolutely fantastic. He's a really dominant player in a lot of ways. And let's just jump into what makes him so dominant and why you really just shouldn't try him, why you shouldn't throw it in his direction. Like on this play, it's going to be a one-on-one matchup right there, and really what's going to be key is that since it's a slant route, this is actually a great route against a one-on-one matchup. This is something that you can see corners get burned on from several times. I mean, this can absolutely result in you getting burned if you're not careful here. But what I like about this from Gilmore is watch how close he's going to get this coverage right here. Watch how he totally allows his receiver to basically be right next to him. This is really key because now in a slant route, there's just not that much separation, and because Gilmore can accelerate so quickly, then he can move over and knock the ball away, and that's what he's going to be able to do. So really tremendous play there, but you might say if you watch that, well, why doesn't everyone do that? And the reason why you won't do that is because if it were to be a go route, well then maybe you could get burned because there's not that much separation already, and then, if it gets thrown deep, potentially a receiver could make a catch over you. That's kind of the downside that could happen. But the reality is, Gilmore just trusts his abilities so much that he just knows that it's going to be so tough to throw over him because he is so quick and he is such a good player at playing the ball. So guys aren't going to really try him in that sense, so therefore they might try something else. But if you try something else, that can create problems as well, which is really just what makes him such an impossible guy to target. This one's another one that I just loved. Where once again, just a one-on-one matchup right there. You're going to see him with a lot of one-on-one matchups. He's the kind of guy who doesn't need much help in most of these situations. But what I find very interesting is that look at the move that Boyd is going to pull off here. Notice how he sort of fakes as though he's going to the outside, but then cuts to the inside, and now he has pretty decent leverage against Gilmore. So at this point, in most situations, what would you say? You would think that this is advantage Boyd. He has the inside leverage, and just so you know, the way his route is going to work is he's going to cut towards the inside further on, so this seems like a great situation. However, there's one problem with that, and it's that Gilmore is a really smart player, and he realizes at this point that since Boyd cut to the inside, he's probably going to at some point in his route cut further into the inside and try to get open that way, so if he does do something like that, then Gilmore knows that he should probably try to undercut it. The reality is, he's watched a lot of Boyd on tape. He knows that if Tyler Boyd does cut like that to get to the inside, he's not going to run an out route at that point. He's going to try to continue cutting to the inside. So therefore, Gilmore is less concerned about keeping pace and not allowing himself to get beat deep, but more concerned about being able to undercut the route, and that's going to be exactly what he does, and he's able to get the interception. He totally just let Boyd run by him because he knew that wasn't the route. He knew that it wasn't going to be a deep route, and even if it was, he has safety help behind him, so it wouldn't be the end of the world, even if he did get fooled, but he also felt pretty confident that that's what was going to happen, and for good reason, it resulted in an interception. It's just a high IQ play by Gilmore. The reality is, I don't know if Gilmore is the most talented corner in the NFL. He's really good. He's definitely in the conversation for most talent. There's also Tre'Davious White, there's Patrick Peterson, just to name a couple, but I think that what sets him apart, and the reason why he probably is the best corner in the game right now, it's either him or Tre'Davious White, but probably him. I think what sets him apart is just the mental game. It's the fact that he is such a smart player. He always knows how to best attack each route, and it's how he gets interceptions, and it's how he doesn't allow touchdowns. Maybe no better example of his high football IQ will be explained on this play, where it's going to be essentially for Cincinnati, what they're going to do is they're going to have their number 1 receiver run that route right there, and the number 2 receiver run just that route. Pretty good route concept, something you see them do pretty frequently, so this isn't anything too fancy, but that's what they're going to do on this play. But what I find amazing about this play is watch Gilmore, and watch what he's going to do. Right when this ball is snapped, notice how he is still looking at Andy Dalton. He is not concerned about this route right here. He is not concerned about getting beat over the top. I have a feeling he had a feeling that this route was going to happen, and he is totally trying to get a pick 6 here. That's totally what he's trying to do on this play. You notice how he's playing so far off, and just watching the quarterback, he saw something pre-snap. He knows what kind of route this is. He's going to try to jump in front and intercept it. That's totally what he's doing. So when Dalton does throw it in his direction, he has the acceleration to run over, get the interception, and get the pick six. That's just IQ right there. That honestly isn't him just being an incredible talent. Obviously, the talent helps because he can stay further back, and he also knows his body and his speed well enough to know how far he can move and the time it takes Andy Dalton to make that throw. But it's also just a tremendous high IQ play of figuring out, okay, this is probably what this route is going to be. I'm going to take a chance, see if we can get 6 right here, and that's what they were able to do. So I think that's kind of the thing, where typically you want to say, okay, don't target Gilmore, don't throw it in his direction, but at the same time, when he does something like that, you kind of see an opening, so you're like, I shouldn't make this throw, but then it turns out that there actually wasn't an opening. Gilmore is just baiting you into an interception, and that's what he did. That's kind of the great talent and the great frustration you're dealing with if you're going up against him. I also like plays like this from him where it's going to be a cover 2 zone, and if you look right there, that's going to be the key matchup. That's where Gilmore is. And since Gilmore is in cover 2 right here, typically he's in charge of just covering the flat on the bottom half of the screen. So basically anywhere from the line of scrimmage to, well, usually what they say actually is like 5 to 15 yards, but usually if it's a little bit earlier, you can still run up and make a play. But basically up until 15 yards further past the line of scrimmage, that's where Gilmore should be covering. And that's notable because it's going to be a go route, so they're going to try to see if they can maybe find a hole in between those two coverages, especially since the safeties are going to be playing further in towards the middle of the field, so the sidelines could get open. But what's really unique here is watch how quickly Gilmore is going to turn his head around. I mean, he gets his head around quicker than the receiver gets his head around. That's just insane, and that's how he's able to step in front and nearly get another interception. That would have been his 3rd of the game, actually. He was very close, and that's just kind of what he does, is he's just so aware. That's why you can't target him, really. Even though that route on paper makes sense, you have to realize who you're going up against. You're going up against Gilmore. Don't make those types of throws. Andy Dalton and the Bengals, for whatever reason, made it part of their game plan to target Gilmore, and it's honestly the main reason they lost. It's a little bit kind of reminding me of, if you checked out the NFL All 100 team video of the defensive backs, where Bill Belichick is on there, he was talking about some of these guys, and he basically just says, on all of them, don't throw it in their direction. If you're their coach, just tell them, don't throw it in that direction, because bad things can happen. One interception is so crucial. You can't let it happen. And if I'm going up against the New England Patriots, I'm staying away from him. I just am. Don't throw it to Gilmore. Like, this last play is another fun one, even though actually it didn't really end up mattering at all, but I thought it was just, this just goes to show what we're dealing with Gilmore. It's a one-on-one matchup right there. But take a look at what's going to happen with Gilmore's assigned man here. Notice how he starts to cut over towards the middle of the field. So at this point especially, I mean, you would think that he's just getting beat. Again, Andy Dalton is running towards the bottom half of the screen. He's not going to be able to make this throw, but you still would think that, okay, this is one of those you got beat and got away with it type of things. However, that's not really the case. This is understanding where you are in the field. Gilmore knows he has help over the middle, so if that is in fact where the Bengals running, then okay, run in that direction, you'll still be covered. But since he's running to the top half of the screen, as you see, Gilmore is able to keep up with him in that direction and make sure that he's covered for the entire play. It's just understanding where you are on the field, and even though you are so talented, also using your IQ to turn these 98% chance of him not making a catch into 100% chance of him not making a catch. It's really just his high IQ right now. That's what's setting him apart from other players. I mean, to be such a clear and obvious threat, to have won first-team All-Pro last year and still somehow get 6 interceptions this year, you can't do that without being smart. It's kind of like the Richard Sherman thing, where he says, the best corners aren't the ones that never get thrown to, because if you never get thrown to, you don't get picks. Well, Gilmore finds a way to get guys to throw it to him, and he's able to then knock the ball down, or maybe even catch it and return it to the house. I feel like I keep hearing everyone freak out about the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be fine. Maybe we don't expect them to win the Super Bowl this year, but, I mean, I think there might still end up being my pick to win the Super Bowl, even over everyone else, just because I have so much faith in the way they run their team, and because of guys like Gilmore, who are just smart and very athletic. I think in a couple of weeks, if they still end up with a bye, I might just pick them to still go to the Super Bowl. That's where I'm at right now, but again, we have to see how the next couple of weeks go, see if they can get that bye, because if they don't, then that's a huge situation. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on Stephon Gilmore, and as always, thanks for watching.